This is All of It on WNYC. I'm Allison Stewart. What do the series Shrinking, The Pitt, and Abbott Elementary have in common? For one thing, their season finales are all this month. Shrinking wrapped on April 8th, The Pitt wrapped last week, and tomorrow, Abbott Elementary has its season 5 finale on ABC. But another thing uniting all of these three shows is actor Luke Tennie. In Shrinking, he plays an Army veteran navigating post-traumatic stress disorder. In The Pitt, he's fourth-year resident Dr. Cruz Henderson working the night shift. And in Abbott, he's a brand new fourth-grade teacher trying to find his footing. Luke Tennie joined me a few weeks ago to talk about all three roles, and with the finale of Abbott coming tomorrow, we're revisiting that conversation now. Here's my interview with Luke Tennie. This is a really incredible time in your life as an actor, being on three critically acclaimed shows, sort of all at once. What do you think you'll remember about this time?
Great question. You know, I think my kids are the reason why I got these jobs. And a lot of people be saying that. I can't explain why. Okay, let me break it down. There's a weird thing in acting where if you really want a job, you're probably not going to get hired for it. Mm-hmm. It's going to be obvious to the casting director for some reason that it's like a necessity for you. And that creates this weird energy that's immeasurable, but somehow still something that people can perceive when it's like, that's just not the right fit. Mm-hmm. When you just left your babies after wiping butt all night and mixing the formula and trying to put everything together and keep everybody, it's just like, I will do whatever I can to feed those kids, whether or not you hire me. And something about that energy makes people go, he'll do. And I'm pretty sure that's why I'm busy. It's because I'll figure it out whether these people hire me or not. And that energy is something that they can rock with, which, you know, I ain't going to fight them on that.
It probably helped you relax in some way.
I think you're right.
You know?
I'll figure it out. Now I'll clean floors. I'll work at the restaurant. I do not care. I'll do whatever I have to do. It doesn't just have to be saying words on this camera, but what an honor to be able to do so.
Let's talk about Shrinking. Most people around here know we love Shrinking on this show. It's basically about three therapists who work together and their families and their relationships. And when Michael Urie came to the studio and I interviewed him, I said, well, what do you like about the show? And he said he really liked the way it approached mental health and it helped him seek therapy. How did Shrinking's focus on mental health, what did it mean to you when you first picked up the script?
It meant the world, especially being able to play a young African-American man who's experiencing benefits from committing to therapy. And a shout out to Michael. I'm a big fan of him. I'll talk about that man till the cows come home.
Oh, he was so good in King Richard II.
Oh, my gosh. I wish I could have seen it. I saw him in Once Upon a Mattress.
Oh, he was good in that too?
Yeah, he's good in everything, man. This dude, he's crazy good. I remember talking about how good he is with Jason on the first day his character was introduced. What an incredible actor. Anyway, had to take that time to talk about him. But yeah, what it means to me is like it's our show is entertainment, but there's also a bit of education in it. Mm-hmm. There's a bit of responsibility that's taking place on behalf of the writers. They're doing the bulk of the work, you know. That's not saying the actors are doing nothing, but we come in and we say the words that they've done the research to make sure are arranged in a healthy way in pertaining to mental health and you know, just the whole awareness around being mentally fit.
Tell me how Sean was presented to you in season 1.
So apparently I was wrong. I was just wrong about who this guy was. I got the audition. It was very clear to me who Sean was. I'm like, well, if he's this dude who's struggling with all this anger, obviously that's something that we can't see right when we meet him. He's got to have some like gentleness to him. It was very clear to me that was like what the words were telling me to play. Come to find out, apparently Brett and Debbie said like, that's not what they were looking for at all. They were looking for like the stereotypical, you know, kind of like they saw him as like a roid rage kind of guy, just mad, you know, ready to go. I don't think that the character was written race specific. I think that they were open to anyone. But I think when I came in and did that, me thinking that was exactly what it was, they said that they didn't redirect me. They were just like, oh, good. And just explored it further just to see what would happen. And I ended up getting hired, for doing it wrong. So shout out to them for making wrong right in the case of Sean.
Well, you did it right for you.
Yeah, amen to that.
Right?
I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful.
In season 3, we're seeing some developments in Sean's character. What's been especially rewarding in the arc that he's taking?
Oh, man. Well, he's the client we follow the most. And I think that means it's responsible to give him the burden of hope for the viewer. I think he represents hope. He represents what it could look like for a viewer to commit to what they're seeing in front of them, which is therapy, which is making a change, which is a little bit beyond the stereotypical self-improvement. It's more like getting into the nitty-gritty and arming yourself with tools so that when you have to face the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, you're not just taking arms for no reason. You've got a strategy in doing so.
Have you related to how your character has developed over these 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, he and I both changed a lot since I met him and he met me. He was a really angry dude who didn't really know why. He didn't know it was particularly connected to war. Mm-hmm. He didn't know. He was ignorant. He just knew he came back with something. Like when he went overseas, he did what he had to do for his country, and something came back with him. He didn't know what it was. He didn't know how to identify it. He didn't know how to shake it. The last thing he expected to do was embrace it. And for me, when I started, me and my wife were in this lovely 2-bedroom apartment, and recently married, and now we're coming up on 5 years. We got 2 kids.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so Sean and I are both growing. This dude's got his own food truck. I got these girls who I already miss. I left them yesterday, and I'm like, I wonder what they're up to.
Oh.
Just waiting for pictures from my lady. Yeah.
Well, hopefully she'll text you some today.
Yeah.
My guest is actor Luke Tennie. He's here with me to discuss his character Sean on Shrinking, as well as both Abbott Elementary and The Pitt. Let's listen to a clip from Shrinking. In this scene, your character Sean, who was just dumped, he's explaining how he feels to his therapist, played by Harrison Ford. Let's listen.
We talked about it more, and she said that being with me was keeping her from moving forward. I understand it, but it's still annoying.
Well, maybe it's annoying because deep down you realize that you should be moving on too. I know you want more. A real relationship, your own place, a sailboat in Connecticut. Okay, the last one's mine, but point is, if you're not growing, you're not living.
No, I lived this morning. Twice.
I'll make a note of that. Patient keeps bragging despite having been dumped.
I missed the notebook.
So do I, kid. The handwriting got too shaky. Have I taught you about the field?
Is this more your crunchy munchy spiritual crap?
Life is a conversation with the universe.
And we're off.
That was Luke Tennie. What lessons are Sean learning this season?
I think it's very hard for people who are comfortable to be told by people who love them that that's not the goal. He says, if you're not growing, you're not living. And, oh, man, that's so true. I think comfort is a dangerous, dangerous enemy of those who are really, really doing the work to improve themselves. And in Sean's case, comfort's particularly dangerous because he doesn't just have to improve himself. He has to handle these extremely dangerous scars in a responsible way. They're not going to go away. He's always somebody with the potential to snap. And he needs to, like when people are in AA, even if they've been sober for years and years, they like part of the steps, the journey is for them to admit that they are an alcoholic. And that's, I think, something that Sean is kind of learning here from Sean. It's like, you don't get to say, I'm done. Yeah. For you to actually achieve the progress you told me you wanted, you must continue to grow to live. And at this point, it's a little annoying for Sean. It's not this detrimental criticism like it might have been in years prior, in seasons prior, which I think shows some of his growth. I think Paul's telling him some stuff that he knows, which is why he kind of anticipates the crunchy munchy. But that crunchy munchy stuff really changes people's lives, and Sean is the example of how lives can change.
You're working with Harrison Ford in that scene. What have you learned from working with someone who is, it's overword used, but he is an icon?
That's the word to use. It is the word. That's the one for him.
Yeah, right.
He is iconic. And I think what's real cool about H, this dude is like, he really is a workhorse. Like, I see your sign over there, work hard and be nice to people. And my favorite people who I've seen in the industry, it's like, if you missing either one of those, the other one doesn't count. Like, if you work hard and you're not nice, it doesn't matter. If you're nice and you don't work, it doesn't matter. You need both. You need both to execute. And H is the prime example of what that is. He's like a fake curmudgeon. He's like, that's just not who he is. He is giddy. He loves it, which is crazy too. Cause like when I meet people who see Shrinking and they're like, oh, hey, are you the guy who plays Sean? I'm like thrilled, you know. Also, it's new for me, so I ain't tired enough of that, you know. Maybe I'll get tired later on and be respectful or whatever. But right now, I'm like, hey, yo, it's nice to see you. I always try to like holler and all of that. That's part of it. Like for him, that curmudgeon might just be because if he takes the time to talk to one person, he ain't never gonna get nowhere.
Right.
You know, that's not the case for me. Not everybody know Luke Tennie, you know, but everybody knows Harrison freaking Ford. So this dude, he's just cultivated this sort of like facade so he can get from place to place. It's probably why he became a pilot, you know? He's trying to get on the plane without having to worry about all the nonsense. I should ask him why. Like, was that for efficiency, you know? But like, he's the prime example of that, you know? The kindness really greases the wheels, and the hard work are the wheels, you know? Like, it's the gears. It's the thing that props up the whole machine. So yeah, he's a prime example of that. And the main thing I learned was like, all of our suspicions are correct. If you're a good person who works hard, it might just happen that you could become an icon. It helps when you look and sound like that.
Yeah, sometimes.
At least a little. Like, why is he still so handsome? What is going on? Like, golly.
We got a really nice text about you. This says, love how Luke plays Sean, a character whose growth comes clearly painfully for both the character and the audience who's been compelled to love him.
Oh my gosh. That's very sweet.
That is a very sweet text.
Who said that? Like a listener?
Yeah.
Hey, yo. Thanks, dog. That's very kind. I'm just trying to hold my own in this like comedy with a bunch of titans, so thank you.
It's interesting. The show is about like chosen family, you know, like Jimmy shows up for Sean shows up for Jimmy's daughter, Alice. Jimmy's mentor figure is Paul. What's it like? Sometimes it's very funny. Sometimes it's really sad, the show. Tell me a little bit about working between those two ideas, the comedy and the tragedy.
Yeah, so Jason, he always says, and I can channel him a little bit. He's like, yeah, there's a fine line that we like to play between comedy and pathos, and I think that's what people want to see right now. He's so right. He's so right about that. Like, the reason why people are connecting to that so much is because gone are the days where we are looking for, and when I say we, I mean like the majority of viewers, the majority of fans of TV. Gone are the days where we're looking to see the same person we saw last week. You know, like, love Seinfeld. It's hilarious. The reason why it worked is because at that time, collectively as a society, we needed to see people who we could identify, who we could trust. You know, even same with Fresh Prince. Like, I remember watching that show as a kid. I'm like, why is he still making this same dang mistake, bro? Like, the only time they actually complete an arc is like in the final season of a sitcom is usually where a character starts to kind of like grow up a little bit. You know, we're in a new age. People want to see the reality. People want to see something that shows them that it's worth it. I think, especially for people around my age, it's kind of a hopeless time. Like, you know, when I was a kid, we kind of were made these promises. If you work hard, you're a nice person, and you go to college, maybe you take out some loans, you'll be able to like get a house. There's so many people my age who will never own property, you know? So when we watch TV, we want to see something real. We want to laugh, but we want to cry because, you know, we too busy working to be able to let them tears out. So it's nice to turn on a show that comforts you by like punching you in the stomach and then like giving you, I don't know, a nice shiny red apple or something. You know, it's a little both. It's, sugar helping the medicine go down.
I'm talking to actor Luke Tennie. You've recently joined Abbott Elementary. You've been with Shrinking since the beginning, but you joined Abbott well into it being on the air. What was it like to join the cast of Abbott Elementary when they're off and running?
Yeah, for real. It's so cool. That show's kind of like an elder brother to us on the lot because, you know, Abbott was the titan on WB, like the big shots, you know? And then we started Shrinking, putting it together. We kind of knew it would be a good show. We didn't know it would be like the hit it is today. It's really speaking to people, which is really cool to be able to say. But yeah, Abbott, they were doing this thing where it's the same thing, comedy and pathos. They're just leaning harder into the comedy. And it's the old model of TV. You know, they got 22, 21 episodes a season. It's a true half hour, which really means 22 minutes. All of that's TV jargon for the listeners out there. But like, if you guys pay attention to the way things used to be, TV shows, you know, they used to come on for like a whole school year. And now we're getting these streaming shows that come in. They're about half the episodes, but Shrinking, we say it's a half hour, but it's like 35 minutes. That's like 15 extra minutes than something like Abbott. So all the technical stuff was different. You know, I go to that set, the camera's swinging around. If it's panning, that's your scene partner. So if the camera's not on you when you're doing like the punchline, you got to do it again. You got to make sure everything's caught, captured, and has a sort of chemistry and a pluckiness that actually, you know, contributes to the style and the genre of the show. Whereas in Shrinking, you know, we cross shoot a lot of time. The camera, there's two cameras running on one take of a certain scene, and then they can stitch it all together from different takes. Like, it's different on Abbott. But at the same time, the heart of these projects are trying to make you laugh and also give you something that you need to be aware of. In Abbott's case, is you need to be aware. These teachers that are raising your kids, they are sacrificing everything just to make sure that they got reading, writing, and arithmetic. Like, it's crazy out there for them.
Yeah, it's interesting. Your character on Abbott recently shared that he has an ADHD diagnosis and he takes medication to help him. What were your thoughts about the way they handled it on the show? And first, let's start there.
Shout out, for me, Malcolm Jamal Warner playing Theo Huxtable. I don't know if people like remember this, but when I was young, I was kind of felt like I had something. I had some letters, something. I don't know what. And I got family members who are diagnosed with ADHD. But Theo Huxtable was a character who had dyslexia. And he was always this bright kid, you know, but he struggled on tests. And then like seasons later on that show, he was a teacher. And then he was like working in a community center and was really kind of taking the lead in his community, helping these kids get their education. And I was like, wow, it's so cool that he's able to do all of that, even with a learning disorder. And now I look at my trajectory. I didn't know I wanted to be an actor at the time I was watching that. But I remember being heavily inspired by Theo's character for my character, Dominic, because it's the same thing. He's somebody with a diagnosis that, you know, is something that would be detrimental to hear, especially at a young age. At his time, it was stigmatized to take medication to figure out how to manage it. But to me, it's just a really cool like legacy because I was so inspired by that storyline with Theo that now as Dominic, I kind of feel like in a contemporary way, that's a pretty common diagnosis for a lot of these kids because of the state of the world right now, because of the state of technology. And it's really cool to see somebody like that in a position of education.
Let's listen to a clip from Abbott Elementary. In this scene, it's kind of a misunderstanding of a conversation that happens earlier around your character having ADHD. He thought he heard Barbara talking about it. And it leads Jacob to thinking that Dominic, you know, might be gay. This is Abbott Elementary.
I could use some advice.
Oh, come in. Sit. Let me share my wisdom.
I don't want to make a big thing of this, but that conversation in the lounge yesterday, I can't shake it.
Oh, I totally hear you. 100% on the same page. But what are you talking about?
Well, you know, Mrs. Howard and Miss Shementi were talking, and Mrs. Howard shared some opinions that didn't sit right with me, because I'm that way. So it was a little offensive.
Oh, my God. I didn't realize you were...
Well, I am.
Abbott Elementary has a distinct rhythm. It's comedic rhythm. What is it?
Yo, well, first let me shout out Chris Perfetti. That dude, he's nailed some sort of physical expression of what he's doing vocally so well to the point where you can imagine what he's physically doing. Come, sit. Like you can hear like the energy in his veins as he's doing his like pseudo Jack Sparrow kind of motions. So shout out to him. Keeping it together when he was around was crazy hard. But I think that their style is something that's like, it's people in moments of crisis. That's kind of what Abbott is. There's always a crisis. There's always a fire to put out. Now, the reality is it is an elementary school, so the crises are very different than something like the Pitt, you know? But they still mean the world to these teachers. And here's an opportunity for Jacob Hill to take someone under his wing. Of course, he thinks Dominic and him share the same orientation because Dominic over here trying to be, you know, euphemistic and make suggestions. So he could have been clear on that front. But yo, hashtag GayDHD, hashtag straight DHD is one of the funniest things I have ever read in my life. Oh my goodness gracious me. I was looking that man in the face, fully prepared to be the actor I am trained to be. Okay, yeah, like I'm a theater guy. Like I could do this. I could lock in. This man asked me ADHD, and I broke 3 times just trying to keep it together. He's so funny, and he is so sincere. I was like, golly, I'm embarrassed, man. Like I'm trying to be a professional over here. He keep making me laugh, but I finally got through it, and it's one of the funniest scenes I've ever been in my life.
Because you are a professional.
I'm trying, man, but it's so much fun to do that. It's a very different style of comedy than something like Shrinking, and I'm a little less of a straight man in this show, which is fun for me because, I feel like I'm kind of working through the steps as a comedic performer to like on my way to being given more challenging material. Like Chris gets very challenging material. It don't look that way because he just cold with it. He good at his job.
Well, you get to be challenged in the Pit.
Yeah, big time.
I saw the episode early.
Oh, you saw it?
I saw it.
This
You
is
play
13, yeah?
Dr. Cruz Henderson. How would you describe Dr. Cruz Henderson? Characters will meet him shortly.
Calm, cool, and collected. And, there's something I want to say, but I can't say yet because the episode ain't out. But the way that they describe him using his name, that to me was like a sort of, he's somebody who's cruising. He's somebody who's really just got it on lock. He's just confident. He trusts his training. He trusts the other healthcare providers around him. He just has this sort of hope that it's going to work out. They're going to crack it, And I think that sort of presence is something that we haven't really seen on the Pit. And I'm curious to see because I haven't seen anything except like, what I went in to do ADR for, like voice matching.
Yeah.
That's all I've seen of the show so far, so I can't wait.
Oh, it's good.
I'm glad to hear that because I wouldn't know. I don't know.
Was there any particular part of working on the Pit that really pushed you out of your comfort zone?
Oh, yeah, all of it. Like they don't have sides for the listeners. Sides are small little pieces of paper that have the scenes for the day. And usually on a set, if you're an actor, you go into your trailer and there's sides there for you next to your contract. You signed your contract, you grab your sides, you can rehearse your lines. Not on the Pit. On the Pit, it's just come ready.
Ooh.
Yeah, we ain't got that. We ain't got that for you. The only time you see sides is when there's a very challenging medical scene, and then you will have a doctor, an actual doctor, who has written out your blocking, like what you would do if this were an actual hospital, on the sides, which you must return back to the doctor before you go to lunch. They're very, very specific about it.
Oh,
they don't play.
interesting.
Them scripts are not getting lost floating around in the ether. So the doctor needs to make sure they got all the sides before you break. It's really, really exciting. So yeah, the biggest challenge there is acting like I know what I'm talking about.
I want to tell people that you attended the American Musical and Dramatic Academy, the College of Performing Arts. And you think about someone in the academic sense learning how to train, learning how to be an actor. What is something that you go back to from those days that you use regularly in your life as a working actor?
I got a quote from one of my favorite teachers, Ray Verda. He said, "There are rarely emotional solutions to technical problems, but there are always technical solutions to emotional problems." I think about that every day. Most people look at acting and they think this is an emotional thing that you have to do. And they're correct. But the reality is most of the stuff that you see is setting up the few moments of emotion that anchor the whole story. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't know, I'm thinking off the top of my head, take Daniel Kaluuya and Get Out. This guy is incredible, right? For the majority of the movie, he's not in the sunken place. That one time, though, he has to be ready and prepared when Catherine Keener starts tapping that tea glass. Oh, my gosh. It's so juxtaposed from the casual conversation that you spend with Rose and Daniel's character in the car when they end up hitting a deer and when they're just doing the dinner stuff. Like, you got to know how to just communicate like a normal human being first. Once you get that on lock, then you can start cracking those emotional issues with your technique. So the foundation of technique will free you into discovering those emotional places that your character will go. So, yeah, I think about that every single time. Every time the emotion is a tough nut for me to crack, I just go back to technique and think about what physically I need to make sure my character's doing. Do I understand these words? Like, does my character know what he's talking about here? Am I lying? What's my point of view? What's my relationship to who I'm talking to? Where am I coming from? Like the basics, you know? So yeah, I think about that frequently, and it helps me.
I'm going to read one more text. Our listeners love you, by the way.
Oh, wow.
This says, one of the most engaging things about how Luke plays his character is how he uses quiet to be loud, calm as power. Standing face to face with these legends shows the path he is on in his career. Keep going.
Who is sending these texts? Who is it? Somebody
Our
out here.
listeners are great.
Yeah, like T.S. Eliot. Y'all writing poetry over here. What's going on? Man, thank you, yo. And yeah, that you discovering my tricks here. Yeah, you can see I try not to lean into like the typical, but I also try not to overcomplicate things. So I just think, like, if my character's real mad, what if he's quiet here? You know, if my character's really nervous, what if instead of him fidgety, he's frozen? I just try to think about like the opposite and just see how that goes. And what's great about TV and film is you got takes. So I can do the stereotypical traditional route if I'm asked to, but it's a good opportunity for me to explore some things that are a little bit of a risk. And I feel very seen by that last one. Golly, like, yeah, those are my tricks as a performer. I've been a big dude my whole life. So when I started on stage, I was like, they're going to see me. So I should move with purpose. Can't miss me. There's a big old dude over there. Look at that giant head he got, the clown feet. You know, like, I should move with great specificity and purpose. Otherwise, I'm just going to be distracting. So that allowed me to understand that I am not the actor who's a sculptor, who takes the giant block of clay and knocks all the stuff that's not the piece out of the way until you reveal a statue. That's not me. I'm a painter. So I start with the blank space. I start from neutral, and then I add, and then I mix colors, and then I go there. But the reason why I use those analogies is because a lot of my favorite actors are sculptors. Like, they throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, and then you whittle away and then reveal the character. But for me, I start kind of from base Luke, and then I add the character on from there because, you know, there's a lot of clay in my case, you know.
You can watch Abbott Elementary. You can watch The Pitt, and of course, you can watch Shrinking to see actor Luke Tennie. Luke, thanks for coming to the studio.
Yo, this was great. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Your questions were awesome, and you got a great vibe. Congrats to you on these 8 years. Yo, I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, cheers.
The finale of The Pitt can be seen on HBO Max. The finale of Shrinking can be seen on Apple TV. And the finale of Abbott Elementary will be tomorrow night on ABC and then on Hulu for streaming. I want to take the moment to remind you that in just about a week, we'll have our April Get Lit with All of It book club event. We are reading Lake Effect by Cynthia Dupree Sweeney. The story follows a woman named Nina, who is living in Rochester when we first meet her in 1977. She's feeling stuck and bored in her marriage, and after a friend gives her a copy of The Joy of Sex, Nina begins to experience an awakening and starts an affair with a neighbor. It leads to divorce, a big deal in 1970s. Years later, Nina must reflect back on the repercussions of her actions as she prepares for a family wedding. One review said, it is a story of desire, jealousy, fragile family bonds, and choices both freeing and haunting. This is a gift from Sweeney. Thanks to our partners at the New York Public Library, there are unlimited e-copies of the novel available to borrow now with a library card. It is a great and quick read. To find out how to get the book and to snag your tickets to our April 27th event with Cynthia Dupree Sweeney, head to WNYC.org/getlit.